Central European location for the second race weekend of the 2019 FIA WTCR. We're at the Hungaroring, just outside the Hungarian capital, Budapest. 27 cars on the entry list, ranging in age from our reigning champion, Gabriele Tarquini, the most mature of them all, down to 18-year-olds in the field and one wild card, the young Hungarian Tomasz Tenka, bringing the local count up to 3 Hungarian drivers as he joins Attila Tassi and the local hero, who hopefully will start race 3 on pole, Norbert Michelisz. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to what is a cold, windswept and currently slightly drizzly Hungaroring. Don't worry too much about the smoke on the grid, that's just a stunt rider. I'm Martin Haver, alongside me Richard Coleman. And Richard, pretty miserable conditions, air temperature 16. Where are they measuring that? Somewhere nice and warm. Track temperature 19 degrees, but it is damp. Track has been declared wet. This could turn into a bit of a lottery.
Certainly could, and the issue for the teams is that it's could go one way or the other. It's not a definitive wet setting, it's not a definitive weather even, and we could be seeing the rain increase, we could see it dry out in a moment of minutes because there isn't really any standing water, and this provides a real headache for the teams. But if I had to wager anything right now, I would say that the teams are probably going to be erring on slicks at the moment unless they can see more rain coming in.
Well, they've got time to make decisions. Drivers will have come round from the pit lane, likely as not, on their prime choice, so a slick or a wet if they think it deserves it. I'm not sure too many people are going to start in these conditions as they are. It rained in the TCR Europe race just about half an hour ago. You can see from the camera there are spits and spots of water, but our DHL poleman Jean-Carl Vernet would be rash indeed, I think, now if he gambled on wets. Alongside him is Daniel Hegloff from PWR Racing. Augusto Farfus and Ted Björk will look for a podium out of this race, as will Mikel Ascona, the second of the PWR drivers, who was third in the final race in Marrakesh. Nestor Girolami won yesterday, scene of his first touring car win here in Budapest as well. Gabriele Tarquini, Jan Elache start on row 4. Esteban Guerrieri and Norbert Michelisz start on row 5. And those two, Michelisz on pole and Guerrieri alongside him, should start the final race, race 3, at the front of the grid if they survive this. Behind them, 4 touring car world championships between Rob Huff and Andy Priaulx, 11th and 12th. Nicky Katzberg, 13th, ahead of Aurélien Panis, whose teammate Tom Coronel is 16th. Those two went very quickly in free practice yesterday. They've lost all their pace, it seems, overnight. And Ivan Muller for Lincoln Co. miscued in qualifying. He'll start both races in 15th. Attila Tassi, the second of our Hungarians, starts 17th ahead of Mehdi Banani. Fredrik Vervish, really disappointing qualifying for him, only 19th ahead of Benny Leutner in the third of the SLR Golfs. Thiago Monteiro, equally disappointed with 21st. Johan Kristoffersen, 8th yesterday in the race, 22nd today in qualifying. Go figure, who knows. Nils Langerfeldt, 23rd, Kevin Chacon 24th, Gordon Shedden 25th. Broken damper put him out on the first turn yesterday. He's unlikely to fare too much better from 25th today. Marcin Kła 26th, and our wildcard Tomasz Tenka, who only started racing actual cars during the winter. He was picked up by Zoltán Zengo, as Norbert Michelisz was, getting on for a decade ago as a highly accomplished racer of simulators, and started his racing career in actual cars in TCR Middle East over the winter. So he can count the number of races he's actually started with both hands and still have some spares. So it is slightly damp underfoot. We didn't get very wet walking over to the booth, and it's quite a long walk. Jean-Carl Vernet, you can see again, water on the camera lens. It's cold and damp, but it is blowy, so it'll dry quickly, won't it? Yeah, and the track temperature isn't altogether that cold either. We're going to need a bit more falling from the sky before it becomes a real issue. But these are the kind of conditions where you think it's dry, but you start catching white lines or curbs or things that are a little slippery. And yeah, hopefully it'll make for an exciting opening few laps, really. Yeah. At the moment, you'd have to say everybody is going to go for slicks, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how that pays off. Again, when's the 5-minute board? It is due at 25 past. It is currently 20 past, so if the heavens open in the next 5 minutes, you will hear air guns and the scenes of wholesale panic as everybody throws wet weather tyres on. Track's been declared wet to allow the teams the option of fitting wets. Unless the track is declared wet, you may not use wet weather tyres. So that's why Mirat Bartos has declared the track officially wet. So 10th place in race 2, potentially the pole man for race 3 after being fastest in our top 5 shootout. Norbert Michelisz, the World Championship runner-up in 2017, the local boy from Pest, and he has had 2 wins here in his career, Budapest. Started race 1 and race 3 on pole position last year, didn't luck into a win in either of those encounters. In fact, he lucked out, the car died on him on the green flag lap at the final race. The, as ever, loyal partisan fans will be hoping for big things for him. But the real critical thing for him and for Esteban Guerrieri, our points leader after yesterday's race, where he finished 3rd, is they must survive this race, hopefully with some points, but critically with the car intact.
Yeah, definitely, and that's in everybody's mind, particularly this guy here, Esteban Guerrieri, currently our points leader. He knows that he's got to stay consistent throughout the year to give himself the best chance of winning the championship, and it weighs heavy on their minds. But likewise, you can't be too cautious. You've got to try and score points, and but these guys need points from both races, and that's very much in their mind.
Yeah, if you watch your mirrors, you are going to run into somebody else's disaster. So, as often is the case in motor racing, attack is definitely the best form of defence. Well, you can see Yann Lachey's tyre trolley with marked tyres ready to go. It looks like they've got slicks on the car. There's no intermediate, so it is either full dry or full wet. That is your commitment. So Lachey starting this race in 8th. He will go 3rd on the grid in race 3, the final encounter today. 9th in the series so far. Only 3 races under our belt, of course, in Marrakesh. 27th in race 1. He had contact early on. Car was broken, and that was as far as he went. So he'll be hoping for a little bit better fortune. 4 hundredths of a second off pole position. Not a bad run from him. Well, Esteban Guerrieri is now in his car, so we can hear from the Argentine, who lines up in 9th.
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Hola. Well, here we are in live, yeah? Are we live now? Good, good, guys. Sorry, I was talking to my engineers. So we are in tricky conditions, very tricky ones. So I'm pretty sure you will enjoy this race. It's half wet, half dry. We don't know actually what tires to choose, but it's gonna be a nice one for sure. Me starting from 9th. It was a pretty good qualifying, happy with that. And now, of course, trying to make a good race. It's going to be a nice battle. A lot of sensibility we need here, because in these conditions you have to be aware and with all your senses really alert. So let's have fun and hope you enjoy it, guys. Thank you.
Right, several shots of the sidewall and none at all of the tread pattern there, or lack of tread pattern. So not quite sure how Esteban has set up his car or whether they are committed to that. The wheels are still up in the air. At the 5-minute board, they must be on the tarmac. Well, Gabriele Tarquini, who starts 7th, I think Richard Coleman, like everybody else, pretty much committed to a slick tyre. Jean-Carl Vernet, the pole man, is on slicks. I think, unless you're a long way back with nothing to lose, it's a big gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think where we are right now, you'd have to say slick tyre is the way to go. There's no standing water. And of course, unless there's more rain coming in, the wets would just eat themselves up within a couple of laps. So we'd need to know there's more rain coming, I think, for anybody to take that gamble. But we are in a bit of a bowl here. The topography around us is quite difficult to read. And I've been here many a time in the past and called the weather wrong. I remember once the drivers having a slight smattering of rain on the windscreen under a red flag at the start of a race. And yeah, I told both drivers not to worry, and the rain radar said nothing's coming. And within about 60 seconds of that, the heavens opened, and the rain was bouncing about 4 feet off the ground. So it's very difficult to read the weather around here. Very continental style weather. Clouds form out of nowhere, and we're in this bowl, which, even ignoring the rain radar, means you're quite unsighted to what's blowing in.
Well, top 10 cars all on slicks. I think pretty much everybody else back behind them will be on slick tyres. Safety car goes out for the final run round. And just a final word back from the safety car driver to the race director, Mirek Bartos, to warn about any standing water, if there is any. There won't be any. It was only very light rain. And we saw Nestor Girolami there, who lines up in 6th position, our race 1 winner. And he moved himself nicely up the championship order with that. It was a 1-3 for the team. Mikel Ascona, 5th on the grid here, 6th for race 3. Really strong qualifying for the young Spaniard. Last year's TCR Europe champion. We've just had 2 races for TCR Europe, their season openers here, with a 36-car grid. Very, very entertaining stuff. Well, race 1 only 17th position, but he starts both races here firmly in the middle of the top 10. He was really impressive in Marrakesh, wasn't he? Considering, you know, he stepped up to an even more tight championship and an increased driver level. I thought he did a really solid job.
Certainly did. Paddock rumour is the BOP favours the Cooper at this stage of the season, but does look like he's been getting the best out of it.
Ted Bjerg for Link & Co. won the final race in Marrakesh after Ivan Muller, the early race leader, had his car fail under him. So it was Bjerg who had the honour of winning for their new employers this year, Link & Co. And Link & Co, the first Chinese company to win a race at an international level in FIA Motorsport. So Ted Bjerg will start here 4th, and that will be 7th position for race 3. Just missed out on the top 5 shootout. And then ahead of him in this one, who will be alongside him but slightly behind in the next one, is Augusto Farfus. Great opportunity for the Brazilian to really kickstart his season here. Had a slightly under the radar race weekend in Marrakesh, understandably. First time back in a front-wheel drive car in the better part of a decade, after lots and lots of rear drive touring cars and then GT racing. And Augusto really feeling a lot happy with the car today. If he can get himself onto a podium, that's a nice boost of points. And then anything that he gets in race 3 will be a Brucey bonus. In the top 10 in race 1. And he's been among the best of the Hyundai drivers all weekend. Teammate Nicky Katzberg, the 88 car, conversely, has had all sorts of dramas and starts both races in 13th place. So not a big weekend for Katzberg. Front row of the grid, it's the second of the PWR cars. Daniel Hägglöf, the Swedish driver. Now, he was running in 7th place, I think, in the first race in Marrakesh when the car failed under him, and then day 2 didn't go too well for him, but it showed that he's got the potential, and the team certainly with that podium in race 3 for Mikel Ascona have arrived with a bang, a team that have graduated from the Swedish or Scandinavian touring car scene up to world level, and they look very comfortable here. They have not put a foot wrong. Both drivers have been competitive, not disadvantaged by the fact that the Cupra currently is a quick car, and they have been able to make hay. Well, you can see that there are more drops of rain coming down. In fact, in that shot, it actually is raining properly. It was only spits and spots when we came.
And we're already past the moment of no return for the drivers to change their tyres without a delay from the race director. So, yeah, I think
they're locked in, aren't they?
They certainly are.
And the thing is, the race director probably can't risk delaying it because it could easily dry out immediately. This could be 30 seconds of heavier rain. It could be the beginning of an absolute deluge. There's no way of knowing. Jean-Carl Vernet starts on pole position then. The Audi driver just off the podium yesterday, 4th place. That was good points for him, and an opportunity to get good points here as well. He has to cover off Daniel Hägglöf alongside him, but Vernet is a good starter, and the Audi, if he can get it in front into turn 1, should be able to stay clear of the field. This is not as tough a track to overtake on in a touring car as it is in a top-flight single-seater, because they don't have that aero dependency, but there are no givens here. Green flag waves, away goes the field, led by Jean-Carl Vernet and Daniel Hegloff. Behind, Augusto Farfus and Ted Björk, Mikel Ascona, and yesterday's winner, Nestor Girolami. Gabriele Tarquini, Jan Erlache, Esteban Guerrieri, and Norbert Michelis complete the top 10. Behind them, the same positions for these drivers for both races. Huff and Prio, 11th and 12th. Katzberg and Panis, 13th and 14th. Muller and Coronel, 15th and 16th. Tashi and Benani on row 9, and on row 10, Vervish and Leuchter. Montero and Christoffersen, row 11, row 12, Lankefeld and Chekon, row 13. Unlucky for Shedden and Marr, and Tomasz Tenka will be the final car on our 27-strong lineup. So wipers on, and that is an indication that it is starting to rain properly. Johan Christoffersen a long way back, the double World Rallycross champion's been on the radio.
Your dad said almost all cars have slicks on the rear, so we can do something here.
Yeah, good.
Outside line should be a good option on a lot of corners for you.
Yeah, I mean, when the temperature in the rear tires are cold, I mean, you're so dead. So we just need a bit of rain, and I really hope that to continue racing.
Now, that makes it sound very much to me. Richard, who is a trained engineer with a bit of a furrowed brow, he's gone for wets, hasn't he? He's had a punt. There's nothing to lose from where he is. He's way back.
I can't work out if he's done that or if he's split the axle set, whether he's got wets on the back and slicks on the front.
Yeah. They have split the axle set, that's what we're hearing. So slicks on the front, wets on the rear. Famously used by Tom Coronel to win in Japan many years ago in a Seat, and then banned and now allowed again. So you can have slicks on the front for better grip and wets on the rear to help keep the rear tyres warm. Now, it might be that some of our drivers further up the field are having a little bit of a punt on the same. Kevin Chacon, he's way back as well in 24th, nothing to lose. You know, they're nose to tail, 22nd and 24th. They've got absolutely nothing to lose. They're a long way from a point as it is. They can either be heroes or where they are.
It's a very, very narrow operating window that is successful in, but if you are in that window, it can be 2-3 seconds a lap quicker than anything else. It's a devastating effect, but I have to say it's very, very narrow operating window to get that to work.
Might also want to watch for the Honda of Thiago Montero. His Hell Honda, we believe, slicks front, wets rear. More rain on the camera lens. If the heavens open, the teams are going to be earning their crust, aren't they? As people may want to come in and change onto wet weather tyres.
And with a slick tyre, it's very, very difficult to maintain rear tyre temperature, and that's why they want the softer wets. Let's see what Thiago has to say. I believe he's got some team radio.
To the grid, Thiago, to the grid.
Yeah, okay.
Very strange feeling, yeah? A lot of feel like this at the moment. We have to pray for water.
He's going to have to live with that. The grid is almost completed. Tomasz Tenka rolls in the Zengo Motorsport Cupra. We are ready to go in Hungary. Race 2 at the Hungaroring. Red lights are on. And away we go on the right-hand side. Jean-Carl Vernet. Good start from Daniel Hegloff as well. Let's see further down. Everybody gets off the grid neatly. We'll wait to see whether Montero, Christoffersen or Chacon can make ground, but Hegloff with a flying start. Down the inside comes Ted Björk, looking for second ahead of the poleman, Jean-Carl Vernet. Vernet's on the outside, Björk will squeeze through. No way through for Vernet. Who's that behind? Is that Girolami or Ascona who goes through? It is Daniel Hegloff who leads. Ted Björk on the inside line, 4 wide down into turn 2. Guerrieri, Huff, Prio, we're with Muller, trying to get himself insinuated into there. Huff gets shunted out wide, and that is Erlache who made a good start, getting pushed off a little wide. Cars out very wide indeed, and coming back in, that's Guerrieri a long way down. And a challenge for the lead from Nestor Girolami, and Daniel Hegloff is off, and Vernet is off. Right now, they're just going to have to get on with this. The track is very slippery, Richard. This is carnage. Look at Ascona going the long way around the outside, gets turned around, gets back on the grass is Björk. Whoa, Ascona sideways into the chicane. Farfus jumps it. Half the field will jump the chicane. This is a lot more slippery than they anticipated, I think. And a huge puncture from Eddie Bernani. Broken right rear corner. Don't know who else has got damage as a result of that. That Bernani is out. There's Augusto Farfus. He too makes contact with Ascona. Hagloff leads still from, which is that Girolami in second. I'm struggling to keep up with this. Verne in third at the moment. Everybody else in fourth. Looks as though Farfus has got his nose in front and Hagloff still trying to defend. Girolami wants a second win out of this. Hagloff goes off wide. Can Girolami hang on to it? Oh, wow.
Big moment of opposite lock going into the penultimate corner there. There's about 6 or 7 different subplots going on at that time.
6 or 7, 16 or 17 yellow flags are out, and that's probably for the damaged car that we saw from Eddie Bernani. Hagloff in second? No, Girolami across the lead. Yeah, Hagloff and Verne. Then Ascona in fourth. The second PWR car leads the next group. He's got Farfus behind, Erlache in sixth, Tarquini up to seventh, Katzberg up to eighth, Muller ninth, Frederick Vervisch in 10th.
And so far at this stage of the race, those cars that are trying different axle sets, who's that?
Muller. Sideways, I don't know which of the two Audis was off there, I'm not sure. Vervisch, I think, he was behind Muller across the line. Oh my goodness, this is absolute carnage.
Slick's definitely the choice. Montero and Christopherson wallowing around in last at the moment.
Yeah. And they're both in the pits. Bernani's in the pits, Christopherson's in the pits. Actually, Montero, not sure if he's made it across the line or not yet. Ascona in fourth place, fastest first sector of this lap. We're on board with Ivan Muller. That is Vervisch, so that was the Audi that we saw making contact with him. This is the battle now for 9th place.
He's made 10 spots on that.
Guerrieri is down to 10th, Huff's up to 12th. Björk is down to 14th. He really got shunted out wide. So Ted Björk, the big loser, came in second in the points, didn't he, after yesterday's race? And what about Norby? Where's Mikulits? He's down in 13th, on board with Ted. Boof, that was Norby. So is there going to be damaged steering on Norby's car? There is on Ted's, that's for sure. Maybe that was just on the grass.
Ascona was like a pinball throughout the entire opening lap, just getting knocked around the whole time.
He was the cue ball, wasn't he? Everybody was having a go. And I don't know where the contact came, but Bernani's car broken. He has made it back to the pits. He's out of the race. I think Christopherson will probably rejoin.
Some fabulous pack racing all the way through the field.
Amazing stuff. And Nestor Girolami has made the break. He's 1.5 seconds clear of Jean-Carl Verne. There's Bernani's car, right rear damage. They're checking everything else in sight. Hagloff third, Ascona fourth. Then Farfus, Erlache, you saw Guerrieri, 7th position for the Argentine. And actually the good news for Guerrieri is that he's ahead of this monster bunch, which means he will hopefully keep his car in one piece.
Definitely.
Down the hill, is that Hyundai on Hyundai? Yes, it was. That was Katzberg and Tarquini.
Björk in the pits, obviously damaged from that opening lap. I imagine probably bent for steering.
Yeah, from the onboard, his hands were all over the place, weren't they? I wasn't sure whether that was just catching it on the grass or whether it was bent steering. I think it's bent steering.
Bent right rear.
Oh, right, okay. So, Björk is in the garage. And everybody here, this is a monster queue for 8th. Gabriele Tarquini is 8th. Everybody else is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th place in that queue.
Norbert Mikulits, our pole sitter for race 3, just taking it easy, it seems, down in 16th place, clearly trying not to take too many risks.
Well, he had that big contact with Ted Björk. That knocked him out wide. He will be one of the number of cars that flew off the circuit at a couple of places. Thiago Montero in the pits, like Christopherson, he'll be going for a rear tyre change. Andy Prio in the pits. We saw him getting contact as well on the opening lap. Oh, and more cars flying off. That's Vervisch again, and who was behind him? Was that Huff in the Golf? Flying back on in the middle of the pack. Drive-through penalty for a jump start because it's not exciting enough, and that's for Frederick Vervisch. It's his second jump start this year. It's only race 4.
I wondered how he managed to go from about 20th to 10th, but
Did he just
got a bit of a helping hand.
Select top gear when the lights went on and off he went? Well, there is Norbert Mikelic, and alongside him is the yellow car of Aurelian Panis. Norby only just in the points. Augusto Farfus only just in the realms of control. We're right behind with Esteban Guerrieri. That's Air Lachey in 6th.
Big stoved inside on Air Lachey's car as well.
Yeah. Well, you need to go back through all the opening lap Farrago to find out who hit whom and when. And that's not our job, luckily. We have stewards for that. But that may well still be being unfurled as we head to the airport at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, to be honest. There was so much going on the opening couple of laps. I think anybody in their right mind isn't going to be bothering at all about who was within track limits, because there was so much going on a wet track. Nesta Girolami still the race leader. And this is the long queue for 7th place. How close are they to the back of Esteban Guerrieri? Right behind him still. This is Ivan Muller. Muller's in 10th. Tarquini just in front of us, the reigning champion in 9th. Ahead of him, his teammate Nicky Katzberg. So Katzberg got ahead of Tarquini last lap. Guerrieri in 7th. Johan Kristoffersson back out shortly to try and shake down his car for the final race. He was only Volkswagen driver in the top 10 yesterday in the dry. And you would think, as a rallycross champion, this would play to his skill set quite neatly, wouldn't you?
You certainly would, but the problem is if you don't have any water to cool the rear tyres, they just start sliding everywhere because they overheat. As we watch one of the Golfs just get into the back of, I think it was that Muller?
That was Huff and Muller. So, again, 5 World Touring Car Championships in that battle. Ivan Muller hangs on to 10th ahead of Rob Huff. And Huff coming up from, where was he? He was on the same row as Andy Prio, so he was 13th, wasn't he? Augusto Farfus, another big lockup down the inside.
Farfus fast becoming the cork in the bottle here.
Yeah.
You're seeing him defensive more and more often, and that's sort of bunching up this entire pack, really.
And he's having the same problem that Prio's happening, is they're used to rear-wheel drive cars and feeling where the nose is. Feeling where the nose is under braking is the biggest problem they've got right now. And you can clearly see him, he's offline, he's on the damper part of the track, he's trail braking into the corner, smoking the wheels, and he is definitely holding everybody up. But for us, that gives us fantastic pack racing behind.
Tarquini's starting to get impatient behind his teammate Katzberg. You see him starting to get him lined up for a bit of a move, knows that he's got to make a bit of progress.
Well, he has to, because otherwise...
Ivan Muller behind him.
Exactly right. When you've got Ivan behind you, you always have to get on with it, because he always does.
Tashi going straight over at the chicane there.
Yeah, he's gonna...
Careful not to have gained a position.
He'll have to try and drop in between Coronel and Panis, which he does. That's where he was. So he doesn't gain any advantage out of that one. And Augusto Farfus ahead of Jan Lachey. That is 5th on down. Nesta Girolami still the race leader by 9 tenths now over the fastest man on track, Jean-Carl Vernet. Daniel Hegloff in 3rd. Gabriele Tarquini in 9th, and right in the thick of the action.
Keep calm, Gabriel, keep calm. He's trying to overtake you.
Keep calm, okay, fair enough. Keep calm and pass your teammate. Here's Nesta Girolami, the race leader. Nicky Katzberg comes alongside. He gets a good run on Esteban Guerrieri. And, whoa! Katzberg has a big weave after a little bit of a rub. Tarquini tries to insert himself down the inside. If he brakes too late, he'll just cannon into the back of his teammate. The Honda drifts out too wide. Comes back in front of Tarquini, just Guerrieri. Guerrieri, like Mikelic, who's now down in 15th, has got to keep the car in one piece. He wants to win race 3.
So easy just to get a bit of a poor exit, and then you're in real trouble with whatever car is behind you. It's all about not making errors at this stage of the race. Guerrieri maybe being a bit ginger as well, trying to look after his car for race 3.
Yep. Got to think, definitely, the only way to keep your car in one piece, though, is to drive like your life depended on it and try and make sure, keep that car moving forward. It's like when you're a motorcyclist, the safest place to be in traffic is past it all and not around other traffic. Guerrieri needs to do the same. Tarquini right behind him still. And the problem for Esteban is that Gabrielli is in a position to score highly in this race and wants to do so. Nerves the back of the Honda, nudges him again. Gabrielli using all the touring car now. Alongside him, though, comes Ivan Muller, and Ivan goes through as well past Guerrieri. So Guerrieri now down to 10th place. The graphic already 1 spot out of date. Farfus still holding on from the yellow stripe up the nose of Yann Erlaché. Girolami leads by 7/10 over Vernet. The gaps come down. Hagloff is 1.1 behind them, but 2.1 behind teammate Ascona. Hang on a minute. Ascona in 4th, Hagloff in 3rd. PWR new to the championship. Fantastic stuff from them.
Katzberg on the inside of Erlaché then, just trying to get a run on him.
Yeah.
Couldn't win that in a drag race every day of the week.
Good effort. Katzberg piling on the pressure, and alongside...
Katzberg looks like he's cramping slightly.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Tarquini.
Farfus.
He does a bit, and I wonder whether he's had damage on that right rear, which is the one that keeps locking up. No wonder he's a little slower. Whoa!
Yeah, will explain his pace. Oof.
Well, Gabrielli taking no prisoners, but through goes Ivan. There's never a wind that doesn't blow Ivan Muller a bit of good, is there? Tarquini gets onto the inside. Tashi and Huff get together. Tarquini on the inside of Erlaché. They both drift out wide. Muller goes through, picks up 2 places. Well, Tarquini was at the apex, and both of them lose out to Ivan. So Ivan Muller has gone from 9th to 7th in that one. And here's Tom Coronel inside Attila Tashi for 12th, possibly. Fantastic action, 7 laps in, showing no sign of settling down because everybody is trying to make up ground.
It's going to be mechanics with a lot of work to do in repair time today between races. Imagine a lot of these cars have got knocks to wheels and bodywork and all kinds of different things.
Well, Björk heading back out to the pits to check his car. Andy Prios is still being fixed. There's Aurelien Panis right in front of us as we ride with Norbert Mikulich. So Gordon Shedden has got by Mikulich and Panis and is now up to 14th. So Flash is starting to make some progress. And drifting out wide, that's 88 Katzberg. Off wide as well is Panis. So Katzberg comes back on in front of Guerrieri, but he has dropped down out of 6th position. So 6th now is Erlaché. No, it's not. It's Muller, isn't it? He was 9th at the beginning of the lap.
Guerrieri at the inside of Katzberg.
Yeah, Katzberg in trouble. Guerrieri goes through, and he's going to win this drag race as well. Katzberg spins the wheels up on the wet. Tarquini behind. Katzberg's coming back at Guerrieri. Farfus is in 5th, Muller in 6th. Tarquini down the inside, looking back from Esteban. Gabrielli inside his own teammate. Katzberg has to give him room, can't hold the line, but comes back on. Katzberg with the red nose at the top of the hill. Down the inside of Tarquini, he's already passed him once there. On board with Tarquini, look in the mirrors, where's Nicky? There he is, he's still behind. Tarquini's looking in the mirrors as well. And then there's Huff.
Inside of him.
That can only be Huff. He edges Katzberg off, further back Mikulich goes off as well. Mikulich in trouble from Benny Leutner and Marcin Kwa, and Huff is off and Katzberg is paying him back. Huff on the inside now holds the upper hand. 8 laps into the race here in Hungary. Slippery conditions and carnage from start to finish. Every single inch of tarmac, Richard Coleman, being fiercely disputed in really greasy going.
Absolutely. Miserable couple of laps for Nicky Katzberg there, really struggling, just getting shunted out of position, yeah, lives to fight another day. I still feel that Farfus has picked up some damage and his lap times aren't fantastic and everybody keeps bunching up behind him. As we see in our shot now, Farfus at the front, I believe he's got a bit of damage and he's holding everybody up now at this stage in the race. Fight for 5th place.
Yeah, Farfus a long way behind 4th. He's 6 seconds behind 4th, still hanging on though. You can see that right rear actually turning right there when car's going left. Ivan Muller in 6th position has moved up strongly. courtesy of a lot of other drivers in front arguing with each other. Now he gets a run on the inside of Augusto Farfus. That's a done deal. Muller is not going to give Farfus an inch more than he needs to.
But don't forget, Martin, the Lincoln Co doesn't have great straight line speed, so it'll be a drag race down to turn 1.
Aurelian Panis and Norbert Mikulic, the pole man for the final race. And Guerrieri goes by both of them. Mikulic is off. Guerrieri outbrakes himself a long way out there on the dirt. Can he come back on? Comes back on alongside Yvan Muller. That's not going to go down well with a Frenchman.
He's got the inside line though.
Oh, he has to keep the car in place. He's got to keep it alive. Guerrieri will start second in race 3, the final encounter here. If Muller tags him into a spin because he puts himself in a vulnerable position, Mikulic is in the pits. Engine temperature soaring on Norby's car, which was like a pinball in the opening laps. Now Huff and Farfus are both going to lose out to Attila Tashi behind in the Honda, or the young Hungarian's going to lose out to them as they come to grief. There's Rob's family, his mum and his dad and friends are there. Huff again with Farfus. Tashi looking on the inside of Farfus. He moves up 1. Bits of car flying everywhere.
You wouldn't want to be that tyre stack this afternoon, that's for sure. Every time I see that camera angle, I think it's about to go. But yeah, no, some fantastic racing, and I think the Hyundai's really struggling at this part of the race, being banged around quite a lot. Farfus clearly got damage early on in the race, but big worry for Mikulic with those engine temperatures, because of course he starts race 3 from pole position.
Exactly right. Gabriele Tarquini looking at Yvan Muller. This is the battle for 5th place. 6th place, isn't it now, because Guerrieri's in 5th. He got by both of them as they argued with each other. In Yvan with a big old slide in the Lincoln Co. Tarquini didn't have enough grip to get his nose inside. Off goes Leutner and Coronel. And that was Leutner and Coronel. I don't know where they were. They were 12th and 14th at the beginning of the lap, so somewhere in the early teens.
Gabriele might get a look here. He's got a toe. The Lincoln Co. not particularly fantastic in a straight line. Tarquini moving to the inside, but not quite close enough to get a run on him.
What we haven't mentioned in a few minutes is that Nesta Girolami leads the race. He took the lead away from poleman Jean-Carl Vernet on the run down to turn 1. Vernet, though, now only half a second back and closing. And then the 2 PWR Cupras, Daniel Hegloff and Mikel Ascona, are 3rd and 4th. Then there's 7 seconds back to Guerrieri in 5th, and then everything else is happening in 6th and below.
And Girolami lost half of his lead on that lap, now down to 5.5 tenths over Jean-Carl Vernet. So I think there's some life in that race yet as well.
Yeah. Oh, Rob Huff rides the curbs. Attila Tashi on the inside. Still there, still there, still there. And this is the 19-year-old Hungarian against the 2012 world champion. What was Tashi doing in 2012? GCSEs, probably. And Huff survives, hangs on. Calm down, says Mother Kate.
I think Huff might have to give that back. I think that could be a little bit dubious, to tell you the truth.
Well, Tashi was on the inside. Huff was, in these conditions, had no grip to spare. So
yeah, but Huff was maybe a bit naughty there because he turned in. There's nowhere for Tashi to go. So
yep.
I think he was a bit naughty. If I put it this way, if I was a team manager, I'd be blaring on the radio right now.
Yeah, Huff was looking for the penalty.
Tarquini slowed.
So he was in 6th or 7th and is no longer going to score points in this race.
He was battling with the van, so I wonder if they've had contact.
Well, there was enough contact early on, although most of Gabriele's contact was on the left front, not the right front. Black and white flag for Attila Tashi for driving standards. Oh, really? Which race are you watching? Here's the lead battle. Nesta Girolami and Jean-Carl Vernet. Nose to tail. It was 4 tenths at the line. That's not 4 tenths. That's more like 400ths of a second. Daniel Hegloff and Mikel Ascona. Hegloff the Swede, Ascona the Spaniard for PWR in the 2 grey Cupras. And if this all goes to pieces, PWR could end up with a 1-2 down the inside. Nils Langeveld on Gordon Shedden. Audi versus Audi. Fraternal battle, and right behind, through comes Marcin Kwa, and behind him Tom Coronel. 3 wide, Flash on the inside, Mar in the middle. It's Panis, and Shedden across the nose of Mar is the one who loses out. That was the battle for I don't know where, but it was in the points. And Gordon Shedden out of, well, he was 11th at the line ahead of Langeveld and Mar.
Yeah, disappointing for Gordon. He needs all the points he can get. Not having a fantastic season so far. Outgunned comprehensively by this man, who's hunting leader.
Nesta Girolami leads lap 11 of 12 at a drizzly Hungaroring. Not wet enough to be wet. Everybody on slicks at the start. It's got a little more drizzly. Jean-Carl Vernet, the pole man here in this second of 3 races this weekend, is in second place. The gap came right down to not even a car length at the end of the lap, but Girolami in the Honda, it is very quick here this weekend. So too are the Cupras, but they are struggling in this race. Panis ahead of Coronel, the 2 yellow cars, with Niels Langeveld now up to 12th position.
Given Girolami the hurry up there as well, he'd just set an exceptional Sector 2, just pulled out 3/10 on Vernet.
Wow.
So I wonder if he's just perhaps cruising a little bit too much in the final stages of this race.
There is Gabriele Tarquini in the pits, broken right suspension as well as a puncture. Nesta Girolami leads onto the last lap from Jean-Carl Vernet. Daniel Hegloff in third, Mikel Ascona in fourth. Ascona a podium finisher in the final race in Marrakesh. Right now, teammate Hegloff, who was unlucky to have retirement in race 1 in Marrakesh, that dropped him out of the points, and Langeveld with damage, and that undoubtedly from earlier contact.
Of course, he's desperately trying to get that back to the pits to give his mechanics the best chance of having that car repaired in time for race 3. If he stops out on the circuit, the chances are he won't be starting race 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, he won't be starting high up the grid, but as you've seen in these conditions, it may be no different for race 3. All bets are off here. Coronel versus Vervish, and this is for the 14th, I think. Fred Vervish went off a long way earlier, then served a drive-through penalty. And there's now fighting his way back up the order. So Augusto Farfus and Nicky Katzberg's Blue Hyundai's 9th and 10th. Coronel defending with what he's got. He's got damage on the front. And damage on lap 1 as well. Broke the damper on Gordon Shedden's car. Shedden is back in the pit lane as well after being tagged into a spin. Out of the points, so give the team what they can get. PWR Racing, the rookie team. Where's Vernet gone? That's Nesta Girolami. Has he gone past?
No, he's still in second, Martin. He's dropped right back.
Right, there he is. Okay, but hang on a minute. That's Daniel Hegloff right behind him. So here is Nesta Girolami, final lap for the Honda, but all the drama is on second place. Jean-Carl Vernet being caught hand over fist by Daniel Hegloff as they run to the line. It is going to be a second win of the weekend for Nesta Girolami. Run 1 in race 1, 1-1 in race 2 at the line. Vernet in second, fastest race lap for Daniel Hegloff in the Cupra to come third, his first podium, and teammate Mikel Ascona in fourth. Esteban Guerrieri fifth, ahead of Muller, Huff and Tashi. Farfus and Katzberg, Marr, Leutner, and then this battle, Coronel behind teammate Panis, and Fredrik Vervish, the final points scorer.
Possibly enough for Girolami to be leading the championship.
Jean-Carl Vernet, sorry Richard, went from 4/10 back to 2.5 seconds back on the last lap. No wonder Hegloff was right with him. You may well be right. How many points was he back? He was 11 back, wasn't he, Girolami? The winner gets 25, and 5th place gets, where's my thing? I'm not sure it's an 11-point difference, but it might be 1 or 2 points difference. Let's hear from Jean-Carl Vernet.
On s'en tire pas mal quand même après le chaos du premier tour. Faut être content. C'est un peu plus vite, la voiture c'est vraiment bien là. Franchement, il n'y a rien à dire. Merci les gars, désolé vous avez avoir du boulot.
All right.
Copie, bon boulot Jean-Carl, belle course, tu t'es bien rattrapé. Super.
Our pole man.
L'embrayage, on va trop allonger la course, je peux pas gérer, il n'y a pas trop d'embrayage du tout. C'est soit rien, soit tout.
Our pole man there basically apologising to the team for fluffing lap 1 because that's where the race was won and lost. But they reply by telling him he's done a good job. Good points for him as well. Wow, and Daniel Hegloff, 3rd place, the Swede who comes to the World Touring Car Championship. It's in the top 10 in the first race on the streets in Marrakesh, only to retire now. He, like teammate Mikel Ascona, has a world podium under his belt. I need to lie down in a dark room after that, Richard. This is not one of the days where you envy being a steward or a judge of fact or somebody trying to sort the wheat from the chaff. There can't be barely anybody apart from maybe Girolami, Verne and the two PWR guys who haven't got contact that they're absolutely fuming about. And of course, some that they've made with somebody else, which was entirely racing and somebody else's fault.
Absolutely, and the team managers will all be trying to sort of make their case as well and shop each other in to try and gain an advantage. But I have to say, in conditions like that, the stewards tend to be a little bit more lenient.
Yeah, and you need to be really. It was pretty tough in the first couple of laps.
But third and fourth for PWR is a fantastic result, and perhaps you think that you know, being a Scandinavian team and having worked with the Cupra last year, whether they've got a bit of pace, because weather's not always fantastic in Scandinavian touring car racing.
Yep. You know, and it's a valid point. They know the car well, and that's what's really helped them hit the ground running. But they don't know the Hungaroring, and they don't know the weather and what it does to this place either. Nesta Girolami, his first touring car win came at this track. It was his first European touring car race as well in Budapest when he made his debut in the series. And he returns from a year in the doldrums after being dropped unceremoniously by Volvo right at the end of 2017 in favour of Ivar Muller. He thought he would not get another world title shot. And now here he is. One win was enough to put him into paroxysms of ecstasy yesterday. It's going to take a long time to calm him down after a second straight win. And Jean-Carl Verne could have been, maybe should have been, but he takes second place. Very important points for him. And for Daniel Hägglöf, the young Swede, he'll be absolutely thrilled with that. And so will PWR, third and fourth.
Hey, Nestor, congratulations. Great ride. Very well done.
Walking wounded, return to the pit lane, and the jubilant top three. There's the young Swede, Daniel Hägglöf, one of the part owners of PWR Racing. So, Richard, you know, that's a double success for him. The cars are third and fourth. He watched his new teammate, Mikel Ascona, get third place in the final race in Marrakesh, and now here, it's his turn on the podium. And after 1-3 yesterday for Girolami and Guerrieri, Girolami wins again. So the little Barcelona-based Argentine touring car clan are feeling very happy right now.
Sharing the championship lead now, though I think Girolami will technically be leading as he has got more race wins. But yeah, great result for those guys. Let's hear from him now.
His second win of the weekend. Bebu, what a way to do it.
Unbelievable. I mean, it was a crazy race. I knew that something crazy can happen in this type of condition of the weather. We were in the grid just choosing for different wets or dry tires, and nobody knows really well what is going to happen, but I decided to keep it slick. I like this type of styling to drive in damp conditions, you know? So I really enjoyed the race. I want to congratulate Honda for trusting me. This is really, really nice in my second race in WTCR. Congratulations, Jan. In my second WTCR race, I won 2 times, so I'm just feeling amazing. Thank you for all Latin American people that are watching and supporting me and Esteban. Thank you, Esteban, for support all the time. And all the Olink.com team that they did an amazing job. I drove the car, the perfect car, and I cannot ask for any more.
Well, you can. You can have some more good news if you'd like, because now you and Esteban Guerrieri are now leading. You are joint leading the championship.
Wow, just take a picture and leave it like this forever. You just feel amazing. What can I say? I mean, we were fighting quite a lot to get this opportunity in WTCR. I was waiting to a revanche, to be honest, because in 2017 I didn't have the proper opportunity to show my personality and my driving conditions. So now I think we are in a good position to fight for the championship, and it just felt amazing with my family, with all my friends supporting me. This moment, I will keep it forever.
Well, you've got another race to go and a P5 start again. So you're going to do it again?
Yes, please, the weather keep like this because I love driving in that condition. So I will try to score points. Just with 2 winning, you cannot take a risk because just the weekend is really well, looks really well for us.
Well done, Bebu.
Yeah, well done indeed, Bebu. It's already a 51-point weekend for Nesta Girolami. Fantastic stuff. Jean-Carl Vernet second, and then PWR Racing's Daniel Hegloff and Mikel Ascona third and fourth, ahead of Esteban Guerrieri with Ivan Muller and Rob Huff sixth and seventh. Attila Tashi, the top Hungarian driver. Farfus and Katzberg rounding out the top 10. And this year, because of the volume of traffic, points go all the way down to 15. So Mar, Leuschner, Panis, Coronel and Vervish all score. And the final finisher was Tamas Tenka, the wildcard in 18th. So not making it to the end, Shedden, Langefeld, Norby, Jan Erlache, Andy Preo and Ted Björk. So only one Lincoln Co car made it to the flag. Bernani, Montero and Christofferson. So only 2 of the Volkswagens made it to the flag as well. So a race of high attrition, which on slicks in the drizzle with a super competitive, super close 27-car field is exactly what you'd anticipate.
Speaking of attrition as well, I think Esteban Guerrieri, I mean, he was in a part of the train that were just dropping like flies and banging into each other, and at one point he looked well out of it. But yeah, he did a great job to hold his own and come through all that to finish in the top 5. And yeah, sharing the championship lead with his compatriot Nesta Girolami, but you've got a great relationship between those two.
Yeah, not just 2 Argentines, but 2 Argentines in the same team. So All Inkle Motorsport first and second in the championship, and they are 20 points clear of their closest rival, Ted Björk. Jean-Carl Vernet, 28 points back. 5th place, Gabriele Tarquini, 34 points back. There's an awful lot of ground still to be covered in this championship. But right now, All Inkle, Munich Motorsport and the 2 Argentine drivers are feeling no pain. Race 2, WTCR at the Hungaroring. Damp conditions led to a disappointing start for our pole man. Jean-Carl Vernet did not get away well. Swamped by the second row as Daniel Hegloff took the lead. Ted Björk on the inside. And then the carnage began. Damp conditions, slick tyres, and 3, 4, 5 cars wide. In a super tight and competitive field with world-class drivers, it was always going to be tough. In the middle of the pack, Esteban Guerrieri drifting out wide, Daniel Hegloff, and challenging him, the race 1 winner, Nesta Girolami. Everybody else jockeying for position. Mikel Ascona went round the outside, got tagged. Ted Björk on the grass, that would put an end to his race. Ascona got bounced by Augusto Farfus as they battled for the top 3 positions. Behind them, it was just as intense. Whatever place you were in, there was somebody in front, behind, or around you. Thiago Montero had contact. His race would end in the pits, one of 10 cars that failed to make it to the finish. Nesta Girolami in the closing stages, the race leader, with Jean-Carl Vernet, the poleman, closing behind on the Audi. The Audi's trump suit at speed down the straight. Girolami's trump suit, the Honda speed in sectors 2 and 3. And in the end, he pulled away on the final lap from half to 2.5 seconds in front to score his 2nd win of the weekend, with Vernet in 2nd and Hegloff in 3rd. So, busy 2nd race, and now 15 minutes repair time is going to seem like nothing for half the field, who are going to need lots of work on their cars. Even those that made it to the finish look like they probably couldn't go much further.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 2nd podium of this weekend at the Hungaroring of the FIA World Touring Car Cup by Oscaro. Please welcome onto the podium from PWR Racing in 3rd position, it's Daniel Hegloff. please welcome from Leopard Racing Team Audi Sport in second position, Jean-Carl Vernet. And please welcome your winner from allinkle.com Munich Motorsport, it's Nestor Girolami. And representing allinkle.com Munich Motorsport is Enrico Schiller. And now the national anthem for Nestor Girolami and allinkle.com Munich Motorsport. The head coach of the Hungarian national football team, Marco Rossi, will present our third position trophy to PWR Racing's Daniel Hagloff. The president of the Hungarian Autosport Federation, Jalfas Ola, will present our second position trophy to Leopard Racing Team Audi Sports, Jean-Carl Vernet. And the Deputy State Secretary for Sustainable Development, Ministry of Innovation and Technology, Martina Mackay, will present our winning driver trophy to allinkle.com Munich Motorsports, Nestor Girolami. And the president and CEO of Hungaroring, Zsolt Gyulai, will present the winning team trophy to Enrico Schiller of allinkle.com Munich Motorsport. Gents, please come together for your official photographs. Grab your bottles. Let's party.
Oh, let's get ready for race 2, race 3 at any rate. No time for drinking for the mechanics or for the drivers. Might have to have a little bit of a post-race celebration with the Munich Motorsport team and particularly for Nestor Girolami at the end of the day. He will start the final race in 5th position on the grid. Teammate Esteban Guerrieri will start 2nd or 1st or alone on the front row if there is too much damage to Norbert Michelich's car. But for now, the Argentines are feeling no pain. Girolami and Guerrieri are joint championship leaders. Well, Nesta Girolami, Richard, has lit the blue touch paper on his season, hasn't he? 2 wins, pole position for the first race, and he started strongly from row 2 here. Well, let's hear from our podium finishers. Alex is with Daniel Hegloff.
Your first podium of the season, Daniel Hagloff. Now, did you, at the beginning of this season, expect by the second round to be on the podium?
No. To be frankly, I didn't expect to be in the WTCR 2 months ago. So it's totally surreal that Mikkel got a podium in the first race in Marrakesh, and now I get a podium as well. So, and great speed in both cars. So this is totally surreal.
It really is. Talk us through that race from your perspective.
Yeah, I started from second position and I was up in the lead in the first lap. Was the first time for me to try it with the slicks with these semi-damp conditions, so it was really tricky. I got overtook by both Giancarlo and Nestor on the first lap. Managed to keep the pace decent after that, and just I was just happy to be in the podium and not trying to make any mistakes. So now I'm overwhelmed. I must say that a big thank you to the hardworking team, to our partners, to enabling us to be here, also to Cooper Racing, and thanks to come to you as well for helping us with the logistic parts of this season. Otherwise, without them, it would not be possible. So yeah, just stoked.
Yeah. Incredible result. Well done to you and the team.
Thank you.
Ready for race 3 as we head over here, have a chat to Jean-Claude Vernet. That was quite an entertaining battle, wasn't it, from your side?
Woo. First lap was pretty crazy. Couldn't manage a very good start. We had to change the clutch on the car after qualifying, and just had no feeling. So I tried to do the best I could with what I have, and I think now we're gonna set up it a little bit. But I did a pretty good recovery in the first lap. Was super hot in lap 5-6 at the chicane, and could manage to be back P2. And then my wheel was completely destroyed, so I was super lucky to finish. And that was my main problem I was thinking about. A lot of vibration, and I was just crossing the fingers just to finish the race. But at some point I came back a little bit on Nestor, and I said, okay, maybe there is a chance. But no, I'm super happy with P2. Of course, I would like to win. I'm a competitor, but it's a good point for the championship. So thanks Leopard Racing, thanks Audi. And let's have a nice finish.
Yeah, off you go. Go and get ready. Well done, JK. Oh, my goodness me. Bebu, you obviously like racing in an ice rink.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot believe what we achieved this weekend, because that maybe this type of condition is not easy to handle the situation. Even in the first way, I agree with Jan K. It was a pretty crazy first lap, but then I start to realize that I could handle the situation to win. But at that point, mid the race, starting to rain again, so I have to take care a little bit about the brake balance and so on. Because one time I went a little bit wider in the chicane, and JK close the gap, so I have to be really precise all over the laps to get the win. So it was not easy race, but I enjoyed a lot.
Do you think that you'll have, I mean, it actually feels like it's starting to rain again now, so strategy is again going to be tough, right?
Do you want to see another race like this?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's rain. Let's rain again. So it will be nice for me, it will be nice for the show. I think everybody enjoyed this type of race, even if it's a little bit crazy. You have the opportunity to overtake. Otherwise, it's really difficult in dry conditions to overtake people, because, you know, a little mistake is not enough to overtake people. But with this situation, there are a lot of big mistakes. So give me more opportunities to overtake. It will be nice for the end of the weekend.
Bebu's off to do the rain dance. Well done. Race 3, off you go.
Well, he's certainly made the most of the weekend so far, and he starts the third encounter in 5th position. This could be a massive day for he and Esteban Guerrieri. Nesta Girolami, 2 wins in and 1 race to go. And the big question now is, who of our damaged dozen that didn't make it to the end of the race, and the damaged 2 dozen that did are actually going to make it out onto the grid for race 3 to take up their possessions. Isn't it? Niels Langeveld in the Audi had damage on the left front corner, broken steering. We saw him crabbing the car into the pits. Let's take a look at the team's points. All Inkel with 1st and 5th in that race. Now their drivers are joint championship leaders, and they are 59 points, Richard, ahead of Cyan Racing. All right, you know, this is only race 4 of a lot of races, but if you hit the ground running and get a head start, everybody's got to catch you.
The issue, of course, for Link & Co is that they've got effectively 2 teams in the championship, so it's not always that it's the same 2 drivers picking up the big points. So all Inkel, obviously getting the 2, those 2 cars are always prioritised, and maybe it's a bit of a trend already emerging that you know, that's the way to the teams championship.
Well, listen, I did say at the beginning of the year when Esteban Guerrieri ended up on pole for race 1, I said we have a history of Argentine drivers leading the points. The only time we've had an Argentine driver leading the points on day 1, he has ended up being the world champion. Well, there's Nestor Girolami with his girlfriend walking back. He looks pretty happy. What about Johan Kristoffersson? Let's hear from the boss of PWR Racing. They were 3rd and 4th. That is a fantastic achievement in only their 4th world-class race.
Well, it looked like it was going all right to begin with, but then I think you maybe became a bit of a pinball machine.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a lot of fights during the first lap when it's tricky conditions like this, and we were starting from the back, unfortunately, after a bad quali, so we took a bit of a gamble to put rain tires on the rear, stick on the front, and yeah, we tried to be aggressive on the first lap, and I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and I picked up a puncture. I don't know really from what, either it was from debris or, but yeah, it's like that.
And how much damage?
Only a puncture. Yeah.
You're good. If we shuffle over a little bit, though, we can have a chat to teammate. Thank you, Johan. Because, Mehdi, I'm not sure that your car is in quite such good condition now.
Yeah, but we know that it's tricky to start from the back and to try to win some places. But it's a shame because I try only to keep my position, you know, and I had a big push from the right side. From the yellow car, I don't know who is who, if it's Tom or Aurélien Panis, but one of them pushed me hard to the back and destroyed my rear suspension. After that, it's over for racing, but it's for me it's every time shame to finish the race after the first lap.
You're fully out. The car is fully done.
Yeah, looks okay. The team did a great job.
Yeah.
The car looks fixed. So we see now. I think what is the focus for races? It's more to stay out of troubles, and it's not easy because our races now it's not easy at all to survive for the first lap.
No, it's most definitely not, Mehdi. Hopefully, Pete can spy Rob if we may have to come back to him. He's gone. He's gone. We'll come back to him. Yep, officially gone. We will come back to him.
All right, well, thank you, Al. Meanwhile,